How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, I would exercise caution. We did break that channel that we were warning about, and we are trying to continue below it. Watch the next couple candles. Obviously, that won't be until maybe Friday, maybe Monday. But to see if Dixie and them are trading on Friday, I don't imagine they would be. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is selling off, that VWAP is favoring bearish with lower highs and lower lows, momentum is dropping as a result, and money flow is weakening, so watch that yellow wave, that VWAP. If it continues to push down, our blue wave momentum will continue to weaken, and money flow will go from green toward red, and we would see further sell-off. Again, watch for a head and shoulders here, that could bring us toward that 100 area. There is only a 20% chance of that happening, but is still a probability on the table. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are continuing lower. Altcoins did push ahead of Bitcoin again, so remember, there is a high probability of seeing that 55% area and seeing Bitcoin continue to lose against altcoins, again giving us that altcoin kind of run up. Our money flow is starting to pull back. VWAP is favoring bearish with lower highs and lower lows. Momentum is dropping and money flow is weakening as a result. So watch that VWAP. If it continues to drop, we likely would continue lower. Over on total for the daily, we are pushing toward that 936, but we failed to break through. Watch the next candle close. If we get a green candle, we could see a rounding bottom and a continuation forward that would give us a little bit of a bullish continuation with continued higher highs and higher lows after trying to get that rising channel that tried to break away, but because it was so narrow, it really didn't give much of a breakdown. We did get most of that pulled back though. We did get pretty close to that 801 yesterday. We got about 850, 840. So stochastic is pulling back, RSI is selling off, momentum is dropping away, and that VWAP is favoring bearish. So watch that VWAP again. If it continues to drop away, it's likely we would continue lower. And as our total does lead our altcoins, most of our altcoins would continue lower if we do see a rejection of that 936 there. Over on the 1 hour, our VWAP is favoring bearish, rejecting that neutral and continuing with lower lows. Watch for that to continue. If it does, momentum will continue lower and money flow will go into the red, which will give us that rejection and continue to drop us away. There is a 75% chance we do get a higher low, so watch that very close. If we get a rejection, make that higher low and then make a bounce. That would be where our bullish continuation could keep going. However, if we break past that low right around that 889, then we could continue lower, possibly revisiting the 801 we have been warning about. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we did get our break forward. So remember, a descending channel does break you forward. A descending channel is different from a bearish continuation because the highs and lows connect, where in a bearish continuation, they do not connect. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we do have some sideways consolidation action possibly going on. This may create a bit of a flag and leave this gap to fill at a later date, but remember the MPP does say there is a 70% chance of dropping, and normally gaps do have about 80% chance to fill. VWAP is favoring bearish, stochastic is dropping away, RSI wants to round away, and momentum is starting to pull back, so watch those lower time frames. But again, we probably won't see much trading here on futures as it's going to be the weekend, be holiday, so there's no trading on certain markets. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to pull back, momentum is rounding away, RSI is dropping, and that VWAP is starting to favor bearish with a shorter high and lower lows. Watch for that to continue. If it does, momentum will drop away, and that money flow will go into the red, which will give us a further drop. And remember, Bitcoin futures does lead Bitcoin, so Bitcoin likely could follow. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, RSI is flat, stochastic is dropping, momentum is rounding, VWAP is favoring bearish, and that money flow is holding its ground. But if that VWAP does not break that neutral soon, momentum will continue to weaken and money flow will start to suffer, which will mean people are selling more than they're buying on the daily time frame. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a straight channel here, so I would exercise caution. Remember, when your highs and lows do connect, you get a rising channel, and a rising channel can break you down. Now, they slightly don't connect, so watch the next pullback. If we push up where we are and don't touch this line here, then we could continue forward, making a bullish continuation. But if we pull back toward this line, it could be pretty safe to say that we do have a strong trend. We do have somewhat of a touch here, very close here. So again, watch this. It could be a rising channel, and unlike that descending channel, this would break us down. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is rounding, RSI is dropping, stochastic is weakening. Watch that VWAP very close. If it continues to drop here, money flow will remain red, and if it does remain red, those higher time frames will start to push down. Over on graph, tried to do, there we go. Over on graph for the daily, we are seeing a retest of that 26,424. We are trying to make a rounding bottom, just like total, so watch for a green candle. If we get a green candle and break, then we could continue toward that 31,954. However, if we see a rejection here, it's likely we would fill toward that 1724 if we're not careful. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is weakening, momentum is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish with lower lows and lower highs, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a potential higher high, so we are trying to make a bit of a bullish continuation here. That could be positive. Again, watch it very close because it is getting pretty straight, and if it does end up connecting, then that could create a rising channel where we could try to break that resistance and then break down. So we do have a 76% chance of pulling back toward our 24,549. That does show a higher low. If we do get a higher low after pulling back, then we could continue forward, break that resistance, and then see that, I'd say, like 30-cent area right around that value area high. However, if we do not hold at that higher low, and we do make a lower low, then we may continue toward that 2020. There is about 23% chance of that happening, so exercise caution. Momentum is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish, money flow is pulling back, so overall, the 1 hour is starting to favor bearish, and if it does not reverse, it's likely we would break away. Over on Anchor for the daily, we pretty much got our full breakup, so hopefully you were watching and you got in. Ideally, you would have waited for confirmation. We can look on lower time frames to see if there was confirmation, but you're not always going to get that. We do have an indecision candle here despite that break forward. Remember, this indecision candle does show that we are struggling to continue forward and the bears may try to push us lower, so watch the next candle close. Momentum does want to kind of stagnate, so watch that close as VWAP is pulling back and it does want to break that neutral. Stochastic is rounding, RSI is pretty flat. Watch those lower time frames. That VWAP is favoring bearish. We have lower highs and lower lows. We did break our neutral and we're holding. If we continue to hold this neutral, momentum will drop away, money flow will break down, and price will continue to suffer. So over on the 1 hour, it does say we have a 66% chance to make a higher low. Watch if we can make that higher low, then continue forward. If we can, that would be positive, and we could continue further, getting that bounce up. So right here, we did get our confirmation bounce. So you could see we got green candles, pushed up, we retraced with our red candle. You want to watch that retrace. That's when you want to get in. If that retrace is confirmed, we got a small green candle, tried to pull back. That pullback could have been when you wanted to buy in, and then you would have been able to get a little bit of a gain here. Again, getting a little bit of percent here and there is better than trying to go for one big percentage, because stacking up little gains over time adds up way better than one big gain at once, and it can be a lot more reliable. VWAP does want to push up, momentum is starting to suffer, but if that VWAP does break our neutral, momentum could continue up further. Watch that VWAP very close. If it gets lower highs here, we will continue a bearish trend, momentum will drop, money flow will break, and we would see that lower probability of retesting that 37.67. But if that VWAP can break back to the bullish side and we get that pull back, we may just get a little bit of a bounce, continuing a bullish continuation with higher highs and higher lows. I don't think they would connect in this range. We'll see. They actually could connect, so depending on how this plays out, I would exercise caution. If they do connect, we could end up retracing and breaking down, but again, that would be that fill to that lower target, and then watch for that bounce. If you get that bounce, then you're okay to continue further yet, despite a retracement. Remember, retracements are healthy. You don't want to just shoot straight up, because if you do just shoot straight up, you usually do come crashing back down. Momentum does want to round for XRP on the daily. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is starting to weaken, VWAP is favoring bearish, so we do look pretty similar to all the other coins, and we do look like we may lose some strength here. Over on the 1 hour, our saving grace could be this is a consolidation range, which could try to create a bull flag to try to push us to that $1.75, maybe $2 area. Stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is dropping, VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is in the red, so watch that VWAP very close. If that VWAP continues to drop, it's likely we will break lower. I don't know why my order just got canceled there, so that's kind of weird. But over to algo. Again, I'm not too worried. We can cover our trades in a minute. I'm not too worried as it's paper money. I'm not too worried if I'm getting gains or not. I'm just trying to show you how the strategy is working. And if the strategy is working, then we're going to get gains, and that's going to speak for itself. So momentum is starting to push down. Stochastic is dropping. RSI is dropping. VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is in the green. Algo does look decent for the daily, at least to get a bounce in a continuation, despite this little bit of a pullback. Remember, we did pump against the market yesterday. So expecting gains on gains isn't realistic. Remember, if you shoot straight up, you're going to crash back down. But over on the 1 hour, RSI is dropping, stochastic is weakening, VWAP is favoring bearish with lower lows and lower highs, causing momentum and money flow to break in bearish territory. If this does not reverse, higher time frames will continue lower. We will break that 28.48, and then we would retest that 25.03 if we're not careful. There's a 75% chance of hitting that 26.81, and that could be a lower low. So exercise caution, because if we get that lower low, we could create a bearish continuation and continue to drop away if we're not careful. So we will jump over to our orders real quick, and we will see what happened there. So orders, those are our positions. So it does look like we had a buy for anchor. Oh, it had an expiration date. So apparently our orders don't last very long on the paper trading. So that might be why some of our orders didn't fill. Now, yesterday we were at a pretty decent loss. Today we have been bouncing around 100%. Overall, we are up. Our altcoins are doing pretty good. XRP is doing about twice as good as it was yesterday. So we were about 13%. Now we're at $13. We're about 30. Getting really good profit there. Overall, pushing up. So Bitcoin is making a recovery. We did scoop some more up on that drop down. So that's showing how you could DCA in this area. You would still be at a loss. But overall, I believe that loss may end up being a win in the long run. Again, we're testing this out with the paper to show you how it'll look, to show you how DCA can be helpful. Overall, you're going to see short-term losses, but in the long run, it's time in the market, not timing the market. You can win, because if you held through the whole bear market and you just bought at heavy support resistance areas, you would have been at a profit. You would have been at a decent profit loss risk to reward. You would have been at a decent buy-in like average. You wouldn't be at the perfect average, but trying to get the perfect number isn't going to happen. And remember, that could leave you out of the market more than in the market. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and join